So applying is somewhat simple. So what happens is once we get you signed up that you want to do this, we send out some questionnaires to you to find out, and what we're doing is drilling down to identify what processes you have. So again, the example of the dentist, what we're doing is looking to see what processes that they have in place. And we've done this with lots of different people. I was just thinking of an eye doctor that we did this with as well. And there were a lot of things that we learned about their processes and what they go through. So that questionnaire helps us to do that. And then what we do is we look at their profit and loss statement, which gives us usually the expenses that we're looking for. And then we pull those out and start to talk to you as a business owner. How do these things go together? And how much do you use in these areas? So that we can kind of identify how much money that would be involved in each of those categories for the particular credit. Then we go through some analysis with that and see what we can include, what we can't include. It gives us some percentages. The other thing that's pretty important to us is liability. Now, liability can mean lots of things, but in this sense, when I was talking about liability, it basically is the IRS coming back to you and saying, hey, wait a minute, we got some questions here. Usually that's not very fun because it's either an audit or they send you a letter and say, send in this stuff, I want to review it. We want to stay away from that as much as possible. And so that's why we limit some of the things that we do so that we stay away from that and we're under the radar, so to speak. We're not putting up any red flags. We know what some of those flags can be, and so we want to make sure that we're not going through them. So we look at that percentage, and then we get to identify what that is. Now, we may be preparing your tax returns or we may not be preparing your tax returns. If we don't prepare your tax returns, then there's a report that goes to your CPA or accountant, and we send the information over and it's put into a form. It's called a 6765. You know, the IRS always loves their forms. And they include it in the business return, and it goes on to your personal return and goes from there. If we're doing that, we already have the data, we put it in, and then as we're reviewing your return, we show you what kind of advantage you have because of the credit you've got. So fairly straightforward process.